A fantastic Tuesday to everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited. This has been a fantastic WPC, other than the wonderful weather, isn't it? So again, thank you for being here, and I'm very excited to talk to everybody about how you maximize your time and have a wonderful engagement on social media. Almost always when I talk to people, they go, I don't have time for social. In fact, I used to have a coworker, and I kid you not, he had a post-it note on his monitor. It says, check Twitter every 3 hours. You're laughing, but you do that too, right? My name is Dux Raymond Tsai. I serve as the CTO of AvePoint Public Sector. I'm based out of Washington, D.C. And yes, by the way, my name is Dux, real name. Had a hard time growing with it. Got my ducks in a row now. So I wanted to share my story, first of all, on how I got started with social. Now, one of the impetus of how I started leveraging social is way back when, prior to joining AvePoint, I was involved in a technology called SharePoint. Some company calls it ScarePoint, but it's SharePoint. And I wrote a book. It's this book called SharePoint for Project Management. At that time, I was by myself, a consultant, if you may, and I wanted my name known all over the place. This was back in 2007, 2008. But unlike big organizations, I didn't have the budget to promote myself, promote my book, and promote my expertise. And then my publisher, O'Reilly Media, said, you know, there's this thing called social media. You might want to try it. You know, you start blogging, you create a Twitter account. You got to put in a lot of time. And you know, just share your expertise. And fast forward to today, because of social media and the engagements I have, boy, it has helped me leaps and bounds, not only from a personal perspective, but also from a business perspective. In the last few years, I've been privileged to be a part of top influencers around SharePoint globally. As a result of my engagement in social, I became a Microsoft MVP. In addition, by being a partner because of social, you know, imagine Dux by myself, big Microsoft, they couldn't care less about me. But because of my exposure to social, I'm here talking to you about it. Is that great? And I want to share my tips and tricks on how all that worked out. So let's start talking about 5 specific steps that I use on how I maximize the limited time I have and make sure I get the best bang out of my social media exposure. So step 1, just like anything else, treat social, be it personally or from a business perspective, like any business. You know, when people ask me, Dux, should I go on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook or Pinterest? I go, why? Just like you, very quiet, which makes me insecure as an immigrant to the United States and my English not good enough. I would ask another question. ¿Por qué? I go, what are you talking about? I mean, shouldn't I just start tweeting? I mean, you could, but why? At the end of the day, what's in it for you or for your company? What's your goal? You just want to be this famous Microsoft rock star? Fine. Build your brand, build your engagement. Or is it because you want to drive sales? Later, I have another session at 2:30, when to use what social media tools to use. I'll talk about a case study on how Dell grew a lot of revenue just by sending tweets. Is that your intent? Or is your intent just to get the pulse of the industry? You know, the reality today, while you may think social is huge, most of our customers aren't on social. And that's okay. Because who's on social are a lot of the influencers, your Microsoft folks, that can connect you to customers. Is that your goal? So think about why you want to be on social. Number 2, once you figure out what your goal is, how much are you willing to spend? Nothing is free in life. When people tell you social is free, poser alert. Nothing is free. Time is not free. Hiring somebody to tweet for you is not free. Even worse, if you think you can get an intern to tweet for you and they tweet the wrong thing, you get a lawsuit, that's not free. What's the cost? What do you want to get out of it? And then lastly, what's the ROI? Again, my ROI, I'm on this stage today. phenomenal ROI, it took 8-9 years. Are you willing to spend 8-9 years? If you want, you can hire me. By next year, you'll be on this stage. What's the ROI? What about customer service? In my 2:30 session, I'll talk about how companies like Best Buy leverages social to drive better customer service. Is that what you want? So that's the first thing on elevating your social media engagement. ¿Por qué? What's your purpose? The second tip that I have is, especially if you're a small organization or if you're doing this by yourself, use tools. We're all technologists. One of the tools I use a lot are what I call social media management tools. So what you're seeing up on screen, in fact, let me bring it up, is a tool I use, and it's free. I mean, you can pay for extra stuff. It's called Hootsuite. So let me kind of move it over and kind of show it to everybody. And what this does is you can tie all your social accounts from Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. You can even monitor other accounts or hashtags. And why do you do that, Docs? I mean, I get why you have your own feed, but why do you monitor AvePoint, for example? Well, I work for AvePoint, and I want to see what the buzz is all about, good, bad, or ugly. So I can jump on it. If somebody asks a question and I can answer, I can help. I want to be authentic about it. Yeah, we do this, we don't do that. Let me have somebody call you, all that good stuff. And these tools are so sophisticated. I got my own dashboard now. Even I can, bring in Foursquare, for example. I don't know who's the mayor of WPC yet, but I can now start seeing and tying information together. I hope I'm not that boring, so somebody's sleeping right here. And it provides me a lot of insights, and it goes back to my goal. So use these tools, because one of the common complaints that I hear from my colleagues is, Dux, there's just so much stuff. There's just no way I can log into Twitter, to LinkedIn, to Facebook, and keep checking. That'll be my full-time job. You don't have to. And the wonderful thing about these tools, they're available on mobile as well. You can automate some of these, which I'll share in a second. The next tip I have, tip number 3, to maximize your social media engagement is automation. Like right now, if you're following me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is MeetDux. You may be wondering, how is Dux tweeting while he's talking? Let me let you in a little secret. Microsoft gave me a super special HoloLens right here. I've been blinking and tweets are going out. We're all under NDA, right? But there's a lot of great tools that you can schedule your Twitter posts, your Facebook posts. Now, some of you may say, well, Dux, that's not being sincere. I mean, yeah, sometimes. But like right now, there's no way for me to jump on what I'm talking about. You see, for every point I'm talking about, I'm tweeting resources. I talked about use tools. I just tweeted a list of tools you can use. How do you schedule, Dux? I just tweeted scheduling tools. I use a tool called Social Oomph. Love that tool. I use a tool called Buffer, because Buffer ties to my iPhone and Android. You can share that easily. And I don't know about you, I have a lot of idle time. What do you mean, Dux? I thought you're busy. Yeah, when I wait to board for my flights, when I'm stuck in traffic, when I'm waiting for that next train, these tools are phenomenal, because that's where I do my reading on my phone and then push it out to my social media stream and automate these posts. One tool I really love is a tool called Buffer, because the way Buffer does it is not based on time. It analyzes all your followers, when the peak activity is, and then the tweet goes out. Talk about machine learning. Get that? No? What do you guys think so far? Useful? So step 1, identify your goal. Step 2, use social media management tools. Step 3, make sure you schedule a lot of these posts. And for things that people start engaging and talking to you, certainly you want to be sincere and authentic and respond back directly. Step number 4 to maximize social media engagement is use mobile. I already alluded to that. Mobile is great, and not only because you can send text-based content, But in this day and age of Instagram, Vine, videos, photos, your mobile device is your #1 arsenal for social. Anybody here to Meerkat or Periscope? If you haven't, check it out. It's awesome. Anybody can now broadcast. In fact, let me show you a quick example here. I'm going to use a very, very complex social media tool called a selfie stick. And I'm going to prove to you how in like 3 minutes we're going to create a WPC meme. All right? So I'm going to take a quick photo here. Okay? You guys ready? Be ready because I'm going to tag you on Facebook, all of you. All right. There you go. I was shaking, but that's cool. So here's what I did, right? So I'm using my mobile device. I just took a photo. I bet this is the best demo ever, right, WPC? Tweet that. Best demo ever. All right, so I took a quick photo and just want to double check. Okay, the photo's here. And then, friends, what I'm going to do, I use an app called Enlighten. Enlighten is like a $1 app. You can get it anything. Not only can you edit photos, but you can actually create meme. Right? So I'm going to create a meme that says Phil Sorgen says we're special. All right. And then at the bottom, so that's the top part of the meme. At the bottom, I'm going to say we agree. And then I'm going to put WPC 15. All right. And then now I'm just from the app itself, I will go ahead and push it out to Twitter. I'm going to say, and then I'm going to have you wait for my tweet, and I'm going to have you retweet it. MS Partners are special. Right, Phil? What's Phil Sorgen Twitter account? It's, can anybody tell me? At Phil Sorgen. At what? Phil Sorgen? Is that what it is? Kate? Anybody? All right, I'll just say WPC. That's cool. Phil_Sorgen. Okay. Thank you, Chantel. This will be the best live demo ever. Okay, and then wait for it, and then post. There you go. We just created a WPC meme, right? With mobile. Did you guys see it? Not yet? Once you see it, retweet it. The next step on how you best engage with your followers, with your customers, is you integrate existing tools. A lot of times people tell me, well, Dux, social is too hard. You know, I got to learn all these new tools. I'm an email kind of guy. You know, I lived back in 1973. That's cool because in some cases, I actually use email to post on Twitter or Yammer or even Instagram. There are tools out there that lets you do that. For example, there's a free tool called Twitty Mail. You sign up for Twitty Mail, it creates an email address for you. You just email it to that, and it'll send tweets for you. And guess what? My Twitter is tied to Instagram, which is tied to YouTube or LinkedIn. I can even put keywords where it should go. Did my tweet go through? Is that cool? All right. So use existing tools. Another tool I love that Microsoft came out with recently is Bing Pulse. And I use this a lot for full-scale sessions and presentation. It's free. You sign up for Bing Pulse, you can create surveys, polls, questionnaires, even stream videos. It's part of Skype for Broadcast now, but it's tied to your social as well. And not only can you capture information, you can capture insights and keep it and track it and measure it. Phenomenal tool. Microsoft CRM has a tool called Microsoft Social Engagement where you could do sentiment analysis. As partners, Most of you would have access to that. Take advantage of it. I mean, even if you're not deploying it for your customers, use it for yourself. Another tool Microsoft has is called Parature. It's another great tool where you monitor social and create cases for you so you can track those cases. A great use case for customer service purpose. Another tool I highly recommend is a tool called If This Then That. Anybody heard of that? IFTTT. It's like every geek's dream. You can take any content that's publicly available and create rules and automate. So you can say things like, if the weather will reach 100 today in Florida, send out a tweet and tell everybody wear tank tops. Obviously, that tweet didn't go out from me today. It's clear, right? Or you can say, if my bank account bill is going down to a certain value, call me or send me a text. IFTTT. Now, some of you are wondering, well, Dux, you're blurting out all these resources. It's so hard for me to keep track. At the end of this session, I'll send out a tweet. You put your information there. I'll send you the deck, the link, all these resources and videos and checklists and whatnot. Yeah? So take advantage of these tools. Another tool I highly recommend is URL shorteners. As you know, social channels like Twitter has character limitations. Once you put links onto Twitter, it takes up a lot of characters. So take advantage of shorteners like bit.ly, bit.ly. You can even customize your domain. It'll shorten it. Not only will it shorten it, it'll track it as well. Another tip I have, and it's kind of devious, sometimes when I want to say a lot on Twitter, but I have a limited character set, I use another language. I would tweet in Chinese because each character is a word. And you just have to use Bing Translate to figure out what I said, right? Little tips and tricks there. Lastly, I highly recommend you use sharing tools for online content. Any property you have as a company, be it your website, your blog, your community, put in those sharing tools. You guys seen that, right? Share this. Twitter, Instagram, whatever. There's a lot of those out there, and I'll share some of the tools I use for that as well. So step number 5, make sure you integrate existing tools to help you better engage with the limited time you have. So what did we just learn in this quick Social Hub session? 5 steps to maximize your time as you engage with your audience. Number 1, why are you doing this? Identify your goals. Number 2, once you identify your goals, make sure you use management tools that are out there. Third, automate, schedule a lot of these posts. Number 4, use mobile. Go around and take advantage of all these mobile tools. And lastly, integrate existing tools from email to Microsoft tools to any public tools that you can leverage to drive engagement. What do you guys think? Useful? Do you guys want all these resources? One final ask I have is make sure you fill out the evaluation for this session. And I think the only option you have is 4 in the evaluation. But kidding aside, I would truly appreciate your feedback. Follow me on Twitter, and I hope to see you at my 2:30 session. Have a great WPC.